Here's a little story I got to tell about three bad brothers you know so well.
If you ain't first, you're last. And a name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back.
Feel the rhythm. Feel the rhyme. Get on up. It's bobsled time.
A slight tweak in the opening jingle. That means you're listening to the Greenberg Hat Trick. This is episode 10. Sorry we've been off for a few weeks. I'm here with Michael.
What's up?
Unfortunately, again, we are Sethless. He is sick for this recording, but we hope to get him for episode 11. Nevertheless, we move on and move forward with this episode, and a lot has taken place since the last episode, most notably the Dodgers choking in the World Series.
That was a huge bummer. Like, everyone back home in LA was super excited. We knew a lot of people that were at the game, and unfortunately, they, I guess, failed. I guess there's another way to put it besides that.
It's a failure. You are the best team in baseball, the top payroll in baseball, and you have Game 7 at home. And you only put up one run and give up 5. And you don't have Clayton Kershaw pitching, which I'm still dumbfounded that they didn't get it to go that way. And
that's it, yeah. We'll see how it goes next year for them.
And that's it for baseball till April.
Yep, pretty much.
I don't want to hear or see any postings how many days till pitchers and catchers report. It's just like, okay, they report, then what? They have a little catch? Like, okay, I get it. Whatever. Yep. Moving forward, the game of the week is what we're going to talk about. It is round 1 of the Freeway Faceoff. It is the Kings. It is Michael's Ducks.
Quack.
It is at Ponda Center tomorrow night. We are recording this on Monday, November 6th. The podcast will probably go out on YouTube on the 7th, meaning it's game day. It's the Kings and the Ducks, and I'm going to admit that the Ducks come into this one as the favorite, given that they are on home ice and they made the playoffs last year. And Michael, time for you to either defend or rebuke that statement.
I don't see how we're the favorite at this point. We've lost our last 3 games in a row. I think our goalies are playing well, but offensively we're struggling, obviously, because of our injuries with Getzlaf out and Kessler still being out and Patrick Eves being out. Yes, we got some defenders back, like Vodin's back and Lindholm's back, but we're still not at full strength. And I still think we're a strong team. Like, we have young players like Kasha, who's playing well right now, but we don't have enough depth and support right now and enough experience.
I mean, it's what we hinted at in the NHL preview we did, one of our earlier episodes. Like, it gets worse now with the Getzlaf injury. You lose your 1 and 2 centers. So that's why they've gone off to a slow start. I saw the shootout against San Jose. That was a shootout that they could have taken all 2 points.
Yeah.
But again, they'll take a point. And like I said to many Ducks fans, as long as they keep it 500.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like, this is the one and only time I'm going to mention his name because I know you can't stand him. But Brian Hayward was on like the Ducks podcast I listened to. And he mentioned that the fact that the Ducks are still like only 1 game below 500 or in that 500 area is a huge surprise. And it's something that shows that at least like, yes, we're struggling, but we're not the Coyotes. We're not that bad right now. There's still plenty of hope for the season to come.
I didn't hear what you just said. All I have in my mind is Brian Hayward is a piece of shit. Go on YouTube and watch the debate between Jim Fox and Brian Hayward.
Oh, yeah?
And see how much of a dick Brian Hayward was when the Ducks were sitting with 1 cup and the Kings had 0.
Okay, I'll check that out.
Just watch that. It's always good to watch it once in a while, and just the arrogance there. And then in a few short years, it's changed fully on them.
We've kind of talked about the Ducks, but let's mention the Kings and then how they're doing and how pleasantly surprised, I guess, is a way to put it, of how they've been performing so far this season. I don't know, like what's your...
I am not surprised with how the team has played because Kopitar bounced back quick, and there was no surprise there. It's Dustin Brown with his point total and the start that he had is a surprise, which is very nice.
Dad offered me a trade on fantasy hockey, and he's like 15 points or something like that right now. Like, I was shocked when I saw that.
Yeah, he's trying to sell him while he's high. And it's great. I always knew that these points were in Dustin Brown and he can get his game back together. The word around the Kings is, and I guess it's as simple as they're having more fun now playing hockey than they did the past 2 years under Daryl Sutter. And we can't dismiss what Daryl Sutter has done for the team. He coached them to 2 Stanley Cups. But like I said previously, And I was wrong to admit, because I was on board for them to re-sign him, but I didn't know it was this bad and that they didn't really want to play for him.
It's crazy though how that really the coaching and all those changes really make a difference. Like to change sports, like the example is Bayern Munich. It's the same sort of thing where like the players weren't having fun under Carlo Ancelotti, and they changed, they get rid of him. All of a sudden, they're winning every game now again. So same thing with the Kings.
It's the same concept.
Yeah.
Like I know you keep on bringing that up with Bayern Munich. It's different from soccer to hockey.
Yeah, of course.
And again, because John Stevens took over, so it wasn't that much of a change of the plan for the Kings, because the same system was pretty much in place, but just now a tweak in the offensive part of the game with going to the net, and the Kings have been doing that. Dustin Brown's goals have been in front of the goalie with mostly tips, and he's been playing phenomenal. And John Stevens, you have to give a lot of credit, and the team a lot of credit. And Quick is your Vezina favorite right now, and that's no surprise to me. I've been saying it since he won that Conn Smythe in 2012, and he's been fighting against the critics ever since. And even the advanced stats, people don't give him the credit, but it doesn't matter. He gets the wins. He's below 2 in the goals against. He's like a 9.35 in his save percentage, which 9.39. And I mean, if that's not good enough for these critics, I don't know what is. He's your number one guy for the Vezina right now. And
it's him and Crawford. Like, those are the two.
Crawford picked it up. He got the shutout on Saturday. He lost to Montreal on Sunday, but Crawford is again a rival because he's with the Blackhawks, and the Kings and the Blackhawks had that rivalry between 13 and 14.
I'd love to see them play in the playoffs again. That'd be a pretty good series if that happened this year again.
It would always be good, but it'll be a different dynamic than what they were in 13-14, because a lot of changes have occurred, both from player personnel to systems and whatever. But I would love that matchup. I think the Kings would be the favorites. I think the Kings haven't changed as much as Chicago has.
Does it matter who would be the home team in those series?
Doesn't matter to us, because we beat Chicago Game 7 in overtime.
That's true.
At the United Center. So to me, it doesn't matter where the Kings play. I mean, if you look at the first Cup run, they were 10 straight road wins, an NHL record. So I have no doubt about it that they can go on the road and win some games at the United Center. But let's get to the game tonight. As I said, the Ducks are the favorite. The Ducks made the playoffs last year. I'm pretty sure they won the season series. It's escaping me what it was last year. I think it maybe was like 3-2 or 2-2-1 or something. But my prediction, Quick was off on Saturday, so he was a little bit rested. So was Gibson, for that matter.
I was gonna say both teams are coming off like a long rest.
It was Miller on Saturday in the shootout loss. But I'm gonna cover myself here, because my first score prediction is going to be, it's probably going to be a 3-0 Kings win.
3-0.
Or it's going to be a 3-2 Ducks win. And that's me hedging my prediction a little bit. But I fully see, given the injuries taking place, and then now this is going to be the rivalry Kings fan here. It's not a home game for the Ducks. That building's going to be 50-50.
It's
Kings
probably
fans and
more.
Ducks fans.
I've been watching some games this year. It's empty. It's embarrassing.
It's always been the case with
I
Anaheim.
didn't know it was that bad.
I just don't know what it is. Maybe the ticket prices are too much, or maybe because like Orange County, I know lots of people play the roller hockey and follow the team, and they have the rinks.
They do show up in the playoffs.
That's a cop out because everyone shows up for the playoffs.
Yeah.
But even for the playoffs, they weren't selling tickets because lots of Edmonton fans came down
I remember
for the
that
Ducks.
too. That was weird too.
It's very strange. I don't know. Maybe Anaheim's not a big enough city, because I mean, it started in Anaheim because of Disney and Disneyland and that sort of thing. But I mean, it ruins the rivalry a bit that the Ducks can't really step up to the plate with their fans and fill up their building. Even though, like I said, from my angle, I love to see the Kings taking over that place, and it's Staples South. But no home ice advantage that I can see of. The Ducks are missing players on both offense and defense. The Kings know Gibson. Like Gibson's had some good games this year, but the Kings know how to beat Gibson, so I'm not worried about a net. And it's Quick versus Gibson. It's a no contest in my opinion. So I definitely lean towards more the 3-0 score line, because I'm from a Quick standpoint, he needs to get back and match Crawford's shutout to get back up out front in the Vezina race.
It's definitely hard to pick scorelines with hockey though. Like I can't. There's no way I can even put a number to it. I think
it's difficult to pick games. Period. I'm at like a 48% this season.
Yeah. This
last year at this point I was like at a 59. So I mean, part of that was losing a lot on Vegas.
Well, to be fair,
losing a lot on Colorado.
Yeah, exactly.
Losing a lot on the Devils.
To be fair, like a lot of the weaker teams that you get easy wins off of are getting losses.
Because we can move on to the standings just to continue NHL before we wrap up into the other sports, because we'll keep it short. I think we're doing better with the shorter podcast because we hit you with what you want to hear, and then you can go on with the rest of your day. New Jersey still very surprising that they're leading the Metro. I mean, Columbus is there, Pittsburgh is there, but they've played more games than New Jersey.
Yeah. 13 games. They're like 3 games behind Pittsburgh even.
You have to shout out the Islanders, who are at 17 points. They're starting to rack up the points a bit.
True.
Washington, the division's very tough too, because you see Washington and the Rangers in 6th and 7th in the division, but they're still 4 points out and 5 points out of first. So again, it's a bit early.
Yeah,
but
I was gonna say it's still very, very tight.
But now we're moving towards the deadline of Thanksgiving, where if you don't have a playoff spot by Thanksgiving, you're probably not making the playoffs in April. So not to say like these games in November are very important, even though every point counts, but you need to get your placement now to get a playoff spot before Thanksgiving. Otherwise, the odds are not on your favor.
So let's we'll stick in the Eastern Conference. Like the surprise was New Jersey being in first. The not surprise is in the Atlantic Division, where Tampa Bay is just like running away with it right now. They're leading everything. Like they got Stamkos and Kucherov are just lighting.
Kucherov, Nemestikov, Hedman in net. Vasilevsky, although his stats aren't so great, he's definitely getting the wins. He's been a good backbone in net, and they've gambled well on keeping him. And when they got rid of Bishop,
yeah.
Like I said, they were my pick for the Atlantic. I think that was a very easy pick. Some people predicted Toronto. Some people predicted Montreal. Montreal we'll get to for a little bit because it's a little bit disappointing. But I'd be all in on Toronto for them to make the finals, and maybe I might have to change that from Columbus. But like I said before, I was a fan of Columbus last year, and I don't know how they lost that series. Well, I do know how, but I don't know why they lost that series to the Penguins. And if Bobrovsky's playing like a top 3 goalie in the league like he should be, it'll be Columbus and Tampa Bay, like I said, in the conference final, which will be great hockey. But Montreal is very disappointing, even though they just beat Chicago yesterday 2-0. First win for the rookie. He gets a shutout at the United Center.
Yeah, wow, that's a
Speaking of the United Center. Montreal's getting the points back. They're about 4 or 5 points out of the last playoff spot. And like I said, it's early, and they can start getting those wins back and finding the offense. Pacioretty is getting going, which is good. Drouin got his third in the Chicago game, the game-winning goal. So I'm not that concerned, even with the Carey Price injury. And to be honest, Carey Price injury right now can give him time to rest and get everything out of his head and find his game. Let's move quickly to the Western Conference. We pretty much mentioned the Pacific Division.
The only thing we just didn't mention is,
Edmonton Oilers.
Exactly.
The Kings have a 13-point lead on the Edmonton Oilers. That's
insane.
That is just so surprising. They lost last night 4-0 to the Detroit Red Wings.
They're on points. They're the second worst team in the NHL right now.
And maybe we all got hooked in because all the experts were loving Edmonton. I was questioning it. I didn't like their goalie.
Yeah, you were, yeah.
I didn't like their defense, especially with Sekera out. And yeah, maybe they have the best player in the league, and maybe Draisaitl is a good complement to him and other good players, but they're not that fast as some people like to say they are, and they're not getting it done. Obviously, 4-8-1 through 13 games is not what a cup contender is supposed to be playing as. Forget Arizona. They're the bottom of the division, bottom of the league. But when you're sitting in 7th in your division, when Vegas is ahead of you, Vancouver's ahead of you, mind you, Vancouver's having a very good start, but like, you're not winning the cup.
Well, it seems like their problems is that they have the least goals scored in the entire league, which is the biggest shock, because I think Seth said they're going to get the most goals in the entire league. So, like, something is obviously going wrong with their offensive production.
Seth's not all the live-by-die opinion.
Of course.
But, I mean, you got to assume they'll turn it around, but it's just funny that they're just having this much drama and not getting wins.
If they don't make the playoffs? Wow. What does that do to Connor McDavid's, like...
It ruins their plans, because we said, this was the year for them to win the cup.
Yeah.
That's what people were banking on, because once you kick in McDavid's contract, then it gets tight. And then how do you add pieces to this team later? Yeah. They're far from winning the cup. And like I said, I was never scared of them in a playoff matchup. I would favor the Kings over the Edmonton, and that was before the season starts. I definitely favor them now. Quick in the playoffs against them, it's a no-brainer. The last NHL story we will mention, finally, Duchesne traded to Ottawa.
Right.
Kyle Turris goes to Nashville. A whole bunch of picks and prospects go to Colorado. Joe Sakic did very well in this trade. He may not get a player right now that will replace Duchesne, but he got back a bundle for this player. Yeah. To get 6 or so picks or prospects is pretty amazing. Now they got to do something with it. And to be honest, if they were smart, they should tank for the number 1 pick, Dahlin, who's there. He's pretty much going to be a franchise defenseman. But nevertheless, Colorado's off to a good start this year,
Colorado should tank,
too.
You're saying?
They should, because they're not going to win the cup.
It's too early to tank, especially if they're still in the contention area right now.
Yeah, but they're not going to go far in the playoffs. They just trade away Duchesne.
That's true.
Just think about that. Like that's and they didn't add anyone to
So
replace him.
what does Duchesne do to Ottawa? How much does that help them?
I've never really liked Ottawa, and now it's time for Duchesne to find his game. But Ottawa needs to make a push now to try and get to Tampa Bay and get to first in division, which might be tough because Tampa Bay's rolling. Because in a first-round matchup against Toronto, which is probably what it's going to be, I favor the Maple Leafs. I favor the Maple Leafs in all aspects of the game except for obviously the Senators have Carlson, and the Maple Leafs don't really have a defender even close to that. But 17 points from 14 games is not bad. 5 OT losses, which is something to talk about because they're not getting games done, but they're playing games tight. So they're going to be in it all year. Especially helps with Montreal and Boston being not having strong starts.
Yeah.
But like I've been saying, it's the best league in the world. You can't predict games like you think you can with the NHL. Like you're going to go to a game and you're really confident to not know who's going to win. Even still with the Kings-Ducks game tonight.
Yeah, it's I really have no idea as far as that game. I don't think I made my prediction.
I'm scared. I'm very confident the Kings are going to win, but it's probably going to flip on me because of just how I've been picking this year.
It definitely could. I can see the game going to overtime. I can see, like you said, I can see the Kings shutting the Ducks out. I can see the Ducks shutting the Kings out. It's a rivalry game. Kings might not show up, but like they coming off of a shootout overtime loss to Nashville, which was a bad turnover by Kopitar. But the NHL best league in the world. Let's do UFC for a little bit because Michael wanted to. Yeah, I was super excited for this. I woke up, downloaded it as fast as possible, and I was blown away. I saw 4 out of the 5 main fights. In my opinion, anytime or in the main card where 4 out of the fights don't go to the decision, where there's either submissions or knockouts, you're in for some fun. And we weren't disappointed at all. Like, it started off with this new guy I've never even heard of, Paulo Costa. Paulo? Yeah, I didn't even know how to say his name. Paulo Costa, some Brazilian guy who beat Johnny Hendricks, who used to be the champion in the middleweight division, but he was in the welterweight division, actually. Yeah, he was welterweight division before.
Don't look at me.
No, I know that. So he won with a big TKO against Johnny Hendricks, which is good for him. I'm sure Paulo Costa will come back again in future UFCs and get more opportunities. But the 3 main fights, the championship, there were 3 championship cards or fights. Joanna Jędrzejczyk, I can never say her name right. She was the biggest surprise of the night, probably losing to Rose Namajunas. That was a crazy upset. I'll just call her Rose. I think it's easier than Namajunas. Rose got a huge knockout on her, which was a huge surprise. I got to stop saying the word huge.
Huge.
TJ Dillashaw versus Cody Garbrandt was my favorite fight of the night. These two guys, they hate each other. They trained with each other, I think, like 6 years ago back in the day. And they had some bad blood going into this fight. Cody Garbrandt won the first round easily, knocked TJ Dillashaw down with like seconds to go. If there were like 10 seconds left, probably in the round, he would have finished him, but he got saved by the bell. And the second round, TJ Dillashaw got a nice little head kick to get him a little woozy, and then eventually got a good little knockout, and the ref stopped the fight, I think, smartly, and TJ Dillashaw won the bantamweight belt from Cody Garbrandt. There might be a rematch with that. Could be.
I don't know why, but I've watched Dillashaw fight a few times, and for whatever reason, I've always rooted for him to win.
He's a good dude. I've heard him on the Joe Rogan podcast before also. He's a good dude.
That's also maybe where I heard him, but yeah, that's.
But then the main event, GSP coming back from, I guess, retirement. I don't know if it's really the retirement or he just stopped fighting for a long period of time. But he came back to fight against Michael Bisping in the middleweight division, which wasn't his normal weight class. He used to fight in the welterweight division. Came back. Everyone wasn't sure. Is he still going to have it? Does he still have the technique, the timing, everything like that? And he won the first round easily, in my opinion. Second round, I think he won too. He got a few takedowns on Michael Bisping. And then the third round, took him down again, was able to get his back, and choked him out. I don't even remember if he tapped or put him to sleep, but huge performance.
I think the ref just stopped it because Bisping wasn't responding.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if he actually fell asleep, but the ref did the right thing, called the fight. Bisping was a proper Manchester gentleman at the end of the fight, calling GSP the better man for this night. And the question is now, what will GSP do next? Hopefully they find something big for him. I want him to find Anderson Silva maybe, even though Anderson Silva's fighting in the next UFC in I think in 2 weeks. But I love this fight, this whole card. this is what you want from the UFC. You don't want the steroids. You don't want the people pulling out of injuries. You want fun, exciting matches with finishes, and it was a blast. If you're a UFC fan and you haven't seen this, I don't know how you didn't, but it's a fun
I would
watch.
think if you're a UFC fan, you've seen this by now. To the non-UFC fan, I would say maybe see that main event if you're into combat sports or a little bit more of the violent sports, because it definitely was a good fight. Again, also with Dillashaw, I was happy to see GSP win. He had a good pregame speech for the Canadians a few weeks back when they introduced him at the Bell Center for a ceremonial puck drop in promotion for this fight. It was a very good speech.
Yeah, he's like a Canadian icon at this point. Like, even before, but now even more. Like, they love him there. Like, when I watched it with Ben, my roommate, who's from Toronto, when he won, I've never seen him react this way. Usually he's like really like mellow and chill and whatever. And once he got the tap or the submission, he was up and screaming like, "Holy shit, dude!" It was really awesome.
Very awesome. We'll close the combat fighting sports with a few quick points. Number one, I miss CM Punk tremendously, and I mean that from a wrestling standpoint, not MMA. But like any good fan of CM Punk, if he wants to continue with his UFC mission, then all the best to him.
I haven't heard from him in a while. I have no idea what's going on with him.
Supposedly, he's in training camp, and there'll be a fight with him soon.
UFC fight?
Yeah. And you just hope for the best. But at the end of the day, I mean, obviously I hope he wins. But at the end of the day, he needs to get back to WWE, because without him, especially of late, it's not been the best product. A kind of crossover between the two companies. There's rumors that Rousey and McGregor will be present at WrestleMania.
Interesting.
But those are only rumors, and I'm not sure if they'll be fighting or not. I think Rousey has more of a opportunity
probably more Ronda
to
Rousey
fight.
than...
She might fight Charlotte Flair. And probably a bunch of you are like, what are you guys talking about? But either way, it's pretty cool to see the UFC cross over into WWE, and like when Brock Lesnar crossed over into UFC.
Also, though, you sent me the link for the video game that's coming out, and it's so sick. They had... Mighty Mouse's submission move in the game. That was so sweet how they had that in the game. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it looks cool. I don't know if we'll buy it.
We're not going to buy it, but if they have a demo, though, we're going to get it and just like start smashing each other.
Everything got ruined once CM Punk lost.
For you.
No, because like I would have bought it to play him for the career mode. But,
that'd been sweet.
But like you can't honestly play the career mode for him, because unless he's improved since the fight, which I don't think he will, because he's getting old. He's not a young fighter. He's not going to be climbing the high ranks of UFC.
No, definitely. Now he's not going to be a star. If anything, it's just for himself and his own pride to get a win.
But like I said, he needs to go back to WWE.
Yeah.
We'll talk briefly a recap on the Premier League and maybe a little recap on the NFL. I think all three Greenberg football teams won: the Rams, the Jaguars, and the
all
Cowboys.
Of us. I think third time this year this happened.
This is a weird year from that standpoint.
From all our teams.
Especially the Rams. They only have 2 losses. Jacksonville as well.
Jacksonville's 3 losses.
I think they're close to leading their division. I don't really.
We're tied for first. We're tied with first in the division with the Titans, but we have 4 easy games coming up against the Browns, the Cardinals, the Colts, I think, and one other easy team. So we might go 9-3, which is what I kind of called from the beginning of the year. Which is I can't believe it's actually coming true.
Very good. We'll post. We've been asleep at the wheel in posting our picks, especially Premier League, because that's the league we started posting our predictions. But we'll get up there on the Facebook page, maybe tweet it out what we've done so far in the Premier League, in the NFL, and as well as our NHL October picks, just so you can see what we're picking, and maybe we can do it more often if you want advice if you're taking games in your fantasies or even in Vegas. But this Premier League weekend was a poor one for me. I went 3-7.
Yeah, that was
in the games.
I wasn't even sure what you were doing with your Spurs and Liverpool picks. I'm not sure if that was hope or.
Well, Liverpool lost. Not lost. What am I saying? At? No, I'm getting confused with West Ham and Tottenham. Liverpool was coming off a Champions League game. West Ham was rested, and I thought West Ham would come to the table, but obviously Liverpool took it up a gear and destroyed them. Tottenham, I was on track for it.
Yeah,
I was on track for it. Again, the Wembley Blues, but they snuck the 1-0 win. And they took the points. So I can take those risks. Saturday's games were awful.
Yeah.
They went completely the opposite way of what I was thinking. Just Huddersfield
That was my thinking too. It was the Huddersfield game and I think the Swansea game. I had a feeling that one of them, like either Huddersfield or Swansea, would win. So I just did both of them. One of them would win, and I got the Huddersfield one.
Southampton again, another disappointment.
Yeah,
you cannot back that team in anything and pick them in winner in whatever.
Newcastle losing at home to Bournemouth.
That was a late winner, and I think Newcastle had. I haven't seen any of the match of the days, but Newcastle had a goal disallowed, I think, wrongfully. And City, their third goal was offsides, I believe.
Third goal, 100% was offsides. Second
No,
goal,
I wasn't sure if it was the second or the third.
Third goal, 100% offsides. Second goal, not really a penalty. Wenger wasn't happy with the Sterling diving, but
this has been. I mean, obviously, if your team's not winning, then it's easy to gripe about it. But this is what I'm starting to hate with soccer, when it's not right results or outcomes are happening. And if a play's offsides,
for now it's part of the game, and there are leagues like Germany and Italy that are getting out of it.
Yeah, but that's why if other leagues have it, then the Premier League should have it. I'm just sick of
it'll come next year, hopefully.
The wrong calls need to be taken out of the game. I'm sorry that that some people are traditionalists and are used to, okay, there's human error and you can make a bad call. But at this point, no. The right call is more important to the game.
We have the technology.
Yeah, and if it's clearly offsides and it changes the impact of the game, then just forget it. City doesn't deserve these extra breaks as well. I'm just sick of it. And if what you're saying, I didn't see the City Arsenal game because I thought it was going to be obviously a City win. If it's not a penalty, then just
I still haven't seen a proper angle of it, but I don't know. The penalties are very going to be tricky with VAR.
Well, I've always hated the diving and the simulation in soccer. It's just a joke. It's really a joke. And some people argue, well, that's the way soccer is, and that's how you have to get the calls. But it should be more about honesty and playing the game with respect and pride. But whatever. Maybe that's a losing battle I'll just have to face with soccer. But we'll highlight the game of the week. Last, Chelsea took their one moment and buried United. It's as simple as that. It was close to the 0-0 tie that I was predicting, what Mourinho was hoping for. Now the question becomes, is the title race over?
I think it is.
Because once you get past those 6 points and you're into 7-8 points, and as it stands, it's an 8-point gap. Even if United beats City twice, I don't see any other blemishes.
I don't see City dropping points many times this year.
I don't see any other blemishes for City, especially the way they're playing. And obviously, you can't keep in track for injuries or sickness or anything like that. Maybe, hopefully, that bad call goes City way, which would be nice to see. But an 8-point gap at this point, it's United obviously has to beat City now, both games. It just what's coming out the most of the season so far is that Huddersfield loss.
Yeah, that was brutal.
It's you can lose at Chelsea, you can tie Liverpool at Anfield. You can't lose to Huddersfield.
Yeah.
And the effort wasn't there. And it's a joke. It's like there's no other way of saying it. And that might be, if you look back on the title race and it's 3 points or less, there's your 3 points on why United didn't win the Premier League.
What's the update on Zlatan? Is there any sort of a timetable of when his recovery is?
Look for December. It's going to be Zlatan, Pogba, and I don't know why he's in the same company as them, but Rojo coming all back in December. Because, again, they're going after Mourinho and United because we're not complaining about our injuries, even though we should be, and other managers do all the time. But that's also true. We've lost Pogba for all this time, and that's where we've lost now.
That's the biggest loss for sure.
We've lost the 8 points now without Pogba. Obviously, Zlatan, we knew the injury, and that goes back to last year. Sorry for the bang with the chair. But it's frustrating. Obviously, it's good from my standpoint with my teams. The Kings have led the way. Cowboys have responded well. And United has taken the back foot now, which sucks. We're not going to get into the U.S. national team again because it's a joke. The Portugal friendly, we'll recap briefly, but there's no Ronaldo and probably no Pulisic. So who cares? And speaking of Pulisic.
Yes, Pulisic. That was obviously for his team Dortmund, that wasn't a good performance losing to Bayern.
It hasn't been good performances at all for Dortmund.
Yeah, the past 3 weeks, I think they haven't won their past 3-4 games.
And this is more along the lines of what I said, that Munich is going to win the league.
Yeah. Well,
they
turned it around, yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's Munich. That's the squad that they have, and they're champions, and they haven't lost the championship since, I believe, 2012.
Yeah.
And Dortmund's chance at home is wasted, and it's pretty much Munich's title to lose at this point.
This was the first time, not necessarily the first time, but I watched, I think, 90% of this game, every time Pulisic touched the ball.
I've been watching him all year.
He was magic this game.
He's been. I mean, he's part of the reason why we got so arrogant with the U.S. national team.
If you didn't see him play, if you've never seen this player play before, and you just hear him from his name, you would not think he's American.
Not at all.
He has something that I've never seen another American do before. Like, he has confidence on the ball. He takes on players. He megged Robin to set up the only goal of the game. But I think the Paul Carr guys tweeted some stat out where it was like he had 14 take-ons, which is the most tied with, I think, Neymar and Messi in one game.
He is going to make the jump. The rumor is that he's going to make the jump to replace Robin next year. And
wow, I didn't hear that.
Would be awesome. I mean,
if he goes to Munich,
honestly, I want him at United. I want him far away from Liverpool. But if he goes to Munich,
that's unbelievable.
Because we need our American players winning trophies, being in big games, playing Champions League, not tying Applewell twice. And it's amazing. And from now on, like we've been saying, because now we can truly build the U.S. national team around him and bring back like the Fabians and the Camerons that were not in the squad, going back into that stupid loss to Trinidad. But if he makes the jump to Bayern Munich, we've got a superstar.
I briefly also want to mention that I saw my first Boca Juniors versus River Plate game yesterday, and that was one of the funnest games I've ever seen of soccer.
Funnest.
It had everything. Like, it had all the bad things you don't like in soccer, like the diving and the bad calls. It had plenty of that. But, like, I know where you're going with that. There were
Dan Cortez
and a human, whatever. What's he say? Whatever.
You can't make
Boca Juniors won 2-1. Crazy goals. All three goals were insane.
Rivers scored with the red card?
Rivers scored. No, both teams got red cards.
Oh, both teams got red cards.
Both teams got red cards in the end. Rivers' red card was a Sparta kick. The dude went for the ball and missed and just completely kicked the guy in the chest.
That's awesome.
Boca's red card was for a dive that River Plate did, so the guy shouldn't have got sent off, but he did. River tied it when it was 10 versus 10, and then Boca Juniors won the game with a crazy volley. I think it was Pavon who got the winner. But it was a great game. Lots of atmosphere, lots of tackles, lots of cards, everything you want to see in a derby. And my friend Pablo, who's from Buenos Aires, who loves Boca Juniors, he lives for them.
Pablo Sanchez?
He says it's the number one derby in the world.
Oh, okay, fuck off.
It might be. It really
might
be.
No.
It might be. That's something we can have on the topic of that later.
The fans' passion can't make up for the skill on the field.
Right, fine. Skill-wise, no, but like
you have to give it credit, and I will put it maybe in the top 5.
It's definitely top 5.
But it's not the best.
100% top 5.
If you want to highlight a soccer game, I'm not saying you should watch Boca versus River. I'm sorry. It's real. I mean, like I hate to go back to the Spanish league because I think Premier League's better, but Real Madrid Barcelona.
That's not a city rivalry. That's what I hate about that.
That's the derby.
In my opinion, it's not a derby. Still, it's got to be.
Well, then
city
if you want to go
rivalries.
city rivalry, then it's United City
or Rangers. Rangers.
That hasn't been relevant. Rangers haven't brought. Like, you need 2 good teams. Because then you can do Newcastle, Sunderland.
Inter Milan. That hasn't been good in a while.
That hasn't been good in a while either.
Trying to think of other ones.
Newcastle, Sunderland.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a fun one.
Oh, that's not the same city.
There was another one recently. There was Sunderland just played Middlesbrough this weekend. That was a pretty exciting game. It was.
I guess Arsenal, Tottenham, but I don't know. Whatever. This is the whole. Yeah, you can get a whole other podcast.
We just completely went off track with this.
Because we were starting to wrap it up soon. We added another 3 minutes. But anyways, I think that's it. We've covered most of the bases. NBA has gotten off to
weird start actually.
Yeah, the Cavaliers suck.
Wow, I saw that. I checked the standings this morning just randomly and like
LeBron. It's not 2018 yet, but you can demand a trade to the Lakers in season.
That'd be pretty cool.
The Lakers are probably not going to do well. My opinions have been well documented about the NBA and basketball in general. I don't see how it's grown in popularity where now it's rivaling the NFL as the top league in America.
There's no way. It just isn't. It's Steph Curry's league. That's all it is.
I don't take away from the players because they're skillful and there's talent and all that stuff. But there's nothing new from it that I see. I'm not impressed every game. Like
it's like fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And like if the Warriors win again this season, which is going
to be the case. That's also like we're not talking about the game of basketball. We're talking about the NBA, and the NBA is set for the Warriors to win it. And how can you follow the rest of the league and your team if you know the Warriors are going to win the championship? And
it's the one league where you actually don't know who's going to win.
That's the what?
It's the one league where you know who's going to win.
Yeah.
NFL, not a clue.
Oh, this year
not a clue.
This year they're actually correct with the parity.
This year's insane with the NFL.
There really is no clear-cut Super Bowl
Everyone's like
favorite.
at 500 except for like the Eagles and the two shitty teams, the Browns and the 49ers.
Who remain always terrible. But now we're going on and on. I think we've covered all the sports, MLS playoffs or whatever. Josie out the door. I don't want you to start for the national team ever again. I'm just sick of your actions on the field. Just be a soccer player.
I'm still a fan.
Be professional. Don't get sucked into Kleiston's BS or whatever. Just Kleiston's been irrelevant for years now. You're getting suckered into him. It's just stop it. But that's it for this episode 10. I think we'll cut it short. It's better short. I believe we can keep more listeners, hopefully. I think this will probably be our new format, whatever, because of our schedules getting all three of us. And obviously Seth was supposed to be on air today. That's why we're doing it at this time, but he got sick. So hopefully next week we can
have the actual hat trick.
Have the actual hat trick, which has been missing for about 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah.
But we'll be back for there's no Premier League to recap next week. So
international break. We got the World Cup qualifiers. Exciting stuff.
We got it's. I'm still not going to watch the World Cup. So I don't know how much I'm going to get into these games. Although I'm looking into the slips to see the odds for it.
There's some exciting games. You got Italy, Sweden.
I don't think you can predict these games.
Italy, Sweden. Obviously, Italy's the favorite, but that'd be insane if they don't make the World Cup.
Maybe you look to Peru over New Zealand, but that's this. That's
and there's also Honduras versus Australia. That's
I like Honduras.
Yeah, maybe they can do it.
I like Honduras over having Australia go to Honduras. I kind of like that. Okay, these drums in the studio next door are driving me insane.
Yeah.
Go Kings tonight. Let's get the shutout. Thank you for listening. This is the Greenberg Hat Trick.